Hey, this is Rashid Hill, and it is a pleasure to be with you today. I want to give you some insight to starting a business. If you're an entrepreneur, if you aspire to be an entrepreneur, military veteran, State Department, DOD, any services, if you're a veteran and you're looking to start your business, then I want to give you the business startup one-on-one, right way with the right tools, less hassle, get your business off the ground. You can also find more information at www.myheroplan.com. So, who am I and why am I here? I'm Rashid Hill. I am the founder of L3 Coaching Solutions. I'm an author, presenter, investor, and consultant. I'm a certified professional and personal development coach. I focus on emotional intelligence. I am a master project manager. I am a veteran advocate, and I am part of the Toastmasters International, which is a great platform for people that want to increase their opportunities in speaking, presenting, and just to really get rid of that kind of fear of speaking in front of a crowd. That's basically what it does. But it does open up opportunities. Anyone that aspires to deliver a message on a bigger scale. Like I said, I'm the founder of L3 Coaching Solutions and Strategies. And this particular presentation is part of my toolbox and things that I have a passion about is helping veterans transition from being military mindset to a business mindset. And so when you make that transition and you do it well, then you benefit society so much more. My main objective is to help people get clear on their career options to create their personal brand, land their dream job, or start their own business. And in all aspects of my particular coaching strategies, I always want to ask, what's next? When you say, I want to be successful at managing a business, okay, what's next? When you get successful at managing, do you want to become the executive? When you get successful as executive, do you want to become part of the C-suite? What is it that you want to do next? So we can focus on what is the end game, and then we go ahead and create a hero plan in order to get you there. So the hero plan comes from my proprietary coaching model called the hero model. High excellence results option is the only option, and that's the hero coaching model. You can find that at www.myheroplan.com. And any other coaching topics, coaching strategies, everything else you want to know about, what I do, some of the training programs, you can always find that at my main coaching page. This is www.l3procoach.com. So let's get right into it. If you're looking to be entrepreneur, you could be a sole proprietor, you could be in a partnership, LLC, incorporate, teaming, contracts. You could do a lot of these things. But you have this incredible idea. It always starts with an idea. And you really believe it's a huge hit. You have created the next best thing. But what do you do with this idea? Which way do you go next? Do you need a website? Do you not need a website? You want a secure domain or just a regular domain? Social media. Do you have any web pages? Do you have Facebook access? Do you have access to this particular Zoom cast, which is probably being watched on Facebook or on YouTube? Do you have a business plan? Do you even need a business plan? There's different schools of thought there, just depending on what you're looking to do. Have you trademarked your business name? Do you need a business license? What about certifications? It depends on what you want to do. You can fast track this, or you can go ahead and get into a particular industry that doesn't require a whole lot of extras. And we'll get into what those are in just a few seconds. L3 coaching strategies. Here are some of the strategies that I'm going to talk about today. If you're going to start up on your business, this is your basic 101. This is not in depth. This is not taking you and scaling your business. This is about basic startup 101. Business idea and discovery. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about basics. Do you need a license, certification? We're going to talk about the concept of feasibility, expanding on the idea, the concept, branding, self branding. Marketing is the product. Self branding, obviously, is you are the face of your business, your product, your service. We're going to talk about finance. Yes, when you start a business, you're going to need finance, capital. What are the projections? How you forecast? What are you going to need later on? And when you need that later on, what kind of funding sources are you going to get that extra or that additional funding to expand your business? Because we don't want to be in the same place. You start this year by 2019, 2020, you don't want to be in the same place in the future exactly where you started. And then we're going to talk about the next steps. I'm going to give you some examples, and I got some bonus areas at the end. So please stay tuned, and you'll actually see how we take it from concept to action, right? So I'm going to give you a little bonus tip at the end. So just stick with me. And like I said, if this is something that you're interested in, if you're trying to get your business off the ground, here is just a really basic kind of concept of what are the things that you need to look for in your initial kind of push. Let's talk about these basics, right? So think about this. Here's some questions you want to ask yourself. Are you planning to be a profit or nonprofit? Do you plan to buy an existing business or maybe one from scratch? What about a home-based business? A lot of us have gotten involved in direct sales. That's like our introduction into business. Well, if you're actually working it and you're actually making money, you're building an organization, yes, you're in business. So you can write off some of the things on your taxes. But what if you are not making money and you are just making expenses, creating more debt? Well, you can still write it off on your taxes, but are you really building a business? So you got to think about how you're going to get that thing rolling. Local reach or national, international. How big do you want it? Some people really love to just stay local. Maybe you have a physical product that's just maybe too big. Maybe it's a tractor maintenance business, but that's not going to go international unless you like to travel, unless you want to create that for an international business. But it just takes a little bit more than doing an online business. So these are some of the things you want to look at is what are you planning to build? Is it profit or nonprofit? Is it an existing business or are you going to go ahead and start one from scratch because you have a great idea that nobody's thought of before? And if it's home-based, great. There are some benefits there for your tax benefits. And you need to consult your local tax attorney or local tax person for that or accountant, CPA, local reach, national or international. So these are some of the things you want to ask yourself when you get ready to start your business. Okay. The concept. What is your business? What is the idea? What is unique about you and your business? Why do you want to start this business? Is it a hobby or something that you've been doing? I mean, was it something that you did at home? And then maybe there's a military spouse, for instance. And, the military spouse could be a male or female. And you've had something that you like doing for a long time. Maybe you toyed with video games or video game machines. Maybe you're good at fixing those. And over the years, you traveled a lot and you've been at home and you've messed with those and you feel like you're really good at it. Maybe you have friends that say, hey, can you help me with mine? My kid has a problem with his. You look at it, you fix it, you give it back, and you never charge for it. Well, you may think that's a good business, and it might be, but that's a good local business, right? And if you wanted to scale it, then hey, that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, it could be scaled. But that's your idea. That's your unique business. And you can create that if you like. Or you may have an opportunity to provide information. Maybe you're really good at teaching people how to do applications for getting into college. Maybe you can start a local business by doing that. Maybe you can go online and do that. And when you get online doing it, now you can expand it as far as you want because it's a global reach. So there's just really what is unique about you, right? What's your concept? What's your unique selling proposal? What is your USP? What in if you want to do online or offline? So just depends on what you're doing, right? So that's a question you want to ask yourself. Am I going to be online or am I going to just stay offline? Do I want to get a brick and mortar? Do I want to have a space in town locally? Or do I just want to run it out of my home? So you got to think about those things. Do you know your target audience? Now, we have some actual um, methods to where I can give you on how you can identify your target market, right? Those are really key things that we can do. I really apologize for that noise in the background. Um, but that right there is something that I was supposed to turn off and had some trouble with that. So I thought I had turned that off, but it looks like that particular alert is still there. So apologize for that. But moving on, startup concept, right? We're looking at, do you know your target audience? So if you know your target audience, then you probably already did some market research. You've already started that process. But there are people out there that say, I have a great product and I just want to get out there and I want to sell it to everybody. Well, that's a nice thing. If you could sell it to everybody, you're selling water or air. Okay, everybody needs both of those. But whatever your product is, there's probably somebody that really wants it more than needs it. And one concept that I understand very well as being in direct sales is that a lot of people buy what they want versus what they, but that's okay. Totally different topic. But right now, you need to identify who's your target audience, who's your target avatar, who is your target or ideal customer. And that's where you want to build your marketing around. Do you know what their behaviors, what motivates them? What are their pain points? How do you get them to want to buy what you're selling? What is special about your target customer? So if you know who your target audience is, do you know how they buy? Do you know what motivates them to buy? And then are you selling them? Is your product catering to why, what, why, what, why, and what for that customer? And that could be 1,000 people, that could be 10,000 people, that could be 100,000 people. It just depends on the research that you do and the type of product that you have. So, what is unique about your business? Does it solve a problem? What problem does it solve? If you're not solving a problem, you're not going to have longevity. Point blank, period. Branding. When I say branding, it's about you. It's not about your business, it's about you. Think about it for a second. Branding is about you. How do you represent your business or service? That's what the branding piece is. Your product will be discussed next. So when we talk about branding, the buzz, or people talking about you, people thinking about you. When you talk about a business, when you talk about offering something new to the environment, when you're talking about putting out something in the universe that is new in a business perspective, they're going to say, do I like this person? Can I relate to this person? Do I want to do business with this person? Do I even want to network with this person? If I give them a business card, are they going to call me back? Are they going to respond to me? Are they going to connect with me? When we have a conversation, am I going to remember how that person made me feel? Not what they said, how they made me feel. This is branding. What type of promotions do you need? What type of promotions, right, do you need? What type do you think you want? Right? You may think, I need to be on TV. I need an infomercial. Well, when you sit down and strategize with your business coach, you may be looking at it a little differently because whatever your product or service is may not require you to be on TV for publicity. It may be great, but it doesn't have to be that way. So they may say you just need to have a really good Facebook ad campaign. You get on social media and you blast it, and here's how we can do it. That's two different things, right? Somebody may say you just, hey, do a couple of videos a week and you're good and you're going to be able to sell this product or service. Should you go online or offline? I think everybody would say both, depending on your product. I mean, why wouldn't you? Exposure is exposure. You know, if you're the face of the brand, then yes, you need to be out there as much as possible and in as many places as possible. Where's the best place to promote your business? That's just something that you have to define, you have to figure out. as well. So think about where's the best place that your customers frequent. What is the right place to attract followers? So your brand says, I am the person that you want to do business with. Then here's my product. So you have to attract people that want to follow you on social media because you're going to be showing them that you represent something that they really, really want. So that's part of your branding strategy that you want to make sure that you're a champion of. What is the difference between influencer and authority? So if you're in social media at any level, by this time you understand the idea of influencer, somebody that influences. So that's the simplest way to put it. But at the same time, is an influencer the same as authority? Now, to the novice, it's very possible that they look the same when they're on social media. But when it comes down to it, are you the authority of what you're selling? Or are you just an influencer that is representing and marketing what's being sold? Two different things. If you're an influencer, you probably have a lot of people that like you and doesn't really matter what your product is. Is it good or bad thing? Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they are doing what they believe they want to do, can do, and they're doing it very well. And they're classified as influencer because of that. And people with products will seek them out. So it's not a good or bad thing. It's that's what they do. Authority. You represent what you're selling. You are the subject matter expert. You are it when it comes to your product or service. So when somebody's looking for a specific thing, they go to you. They don't go to a influencer, they go to you, right? So those are the differences of influencer and authority. So how do I build social credibility versus social currency? You go to an influencer, and the influencer already has social credibility and social currency. So social credibility can be built with or without an influencer. The social currency is an influencer. So you kind of want to go ahead and figure out how do you, which I have access to that marketing information as well. But today, this is just about an introduction 101. How do I figure out if I'm going to go with an influencer or am I the authority or can I be both? Absolutely. But you have to build up social credibility, social currency, and then you can make those purchases. You're purchasing attention. You're not purchasing the product. You have the product, but you're purchasing attention to what you are selling. That's your social currency. That's your social credibility. And then people will want what you're selling. And these are some of the things that you want to look at. Now, let's talk about the product, which is the marketing. We talked about branding. Now we're talking about marketing. Branding, attention. Marketing, exposure. People want to take a look at it. People want to touch, feel, and understand it and say, I want that, right? When somebody says, I need that, different attention to detail. Somebody say, I want that. It's a passion. It's a feeling. So you want them to feel that they want your product. So definitely a good feeling, right? So the exposure, what type of attention do you want? Do you want to go big or do you want to go local? Like I said before, you're thinking like, am I going to be a local office? Do I want the nice sign, right there on the awning, right up front of my store, or do I want to go online and blast it out to the world? Totally up to you. Who do you want to attract? Businesses or individuals? You can go B2B or you can go B2C. You decide how you want to do that because it depends on your product or your service. So totally up to you when it comes to who do you want to attract? Who are you targeting? The businesses or individuals or both? Just depends on what you're offering. Or you can start with one and then you can transition into the next. Who is your target audience? What's your niche market? So your niche market, this is where that target audience, that's where that customer, ideal customer comes into play. You know, who is it that you're targeting? Do you know everything you need to know about them? Who are they? What do they want? What is their pain point? How do you solve their problem? What is your unique selling point? How do you solve their problem? What is their pain? How do you relieve that pain? That's what you need to focus on more than anything else. What is unique about your product and service? Are your products or services easily marketed online and offline? Easily is the key here, online and offline, right? Exposure is key. Where's the best place to promote your business? Like I said before, repeating, where is it? You have to figure out how to market your business, and you need to know, is it best to do it on Instagram, or is it best to do it on Facebook? Is it best to do it on YouTube, or is it best to do it on LinkedIn? It depends on who you're targeting, because those social media platforms, they target different audiences as well. And I have a whole another video about what's the best social media platforms and why, because there's some interesting things happening behind the scenes with Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. There's some things that you might want to know if you're going to start marketing. Um, are there better markets, demographics that make sense? Absolutely. National, international. You got to be thinking, where do I want to be 5 years from now? Because guess what? The markets are moving. They're not standing still. So if you come in today because of the market research, because of the past, the trends, then what's happening tomorrow? Are you in front of tomorrow? Are you in front of next month, next week, next year? You need to know what's coming so you can get ahead of it. When you get ahead of it as a trend fronter versus a trend setter, because you have planned out your strategy in advance, and you will be the last person standing at the end of this process. Do you have a branding strategy? Do you already sell in the market? Great question. Is your product known? So if you already have a market and your product is known, now we're talking about, how do we reinvent? How do we scale? These are some of the things. Do you need more funding, which we'll talk about in a minute? And we already talked about the different influencer and an authority. So I just want to keep that on your mind. Finance. Everybody wants to know, how much money do I need to start a business? Depends on your business, of course. On hand capital, that's a source. Funding source, which is on hand capital, or you can get venture capitalists, you can get family and friends to donate money. You can go to a bank and get a loan if you like. You can go to Kickstarter, crowdfunding. I would say, if you have a kind of an IT, or if you have a supply chain or a financial type idea, you can look at um, doing initial coin offerings utilizing blockchain technology, which is very popular today, because it's kind of at the forefront, and they're averaging um, really high returns on their crowdsourcing funding. Um, Really something that I have some information about. I've been following it for a couple of years. So we can talk about initial coin offerings. We can talk about token generation events. We can talk about security tokens and utility tokens. And all of these are based on, how do I raise money for my company in order to scale it a little faster than normal. So if you have a minimally viable product, then hey, get in touch with me. We can talk about how to create movement and create funds from crowdsourcing through initial coin offerings, or if it's a security token versus a utility token, then we can always go into the token generation event and do some crowdfunding or crowdsourcing for your business to get off the ground. But there's all these different ways that you can raise money and funds to start your business. Angel investors are popular as well. There are people out there that need a lot of money from, like, Bitcoin, from direct sales, network marketing, property investments, these type of things, and they want to give back. Pro football players and pro sports players, just there's so many, and people that won money from lotteries, things like that. They are a lot of angel investors, because they just never saw it coming, and they pay a lot of taxes unless they do something with that money. So they like to uh, donate a lot of that to great causes. So that's where you can think about profit and nonprofit as well. If you need money to start your nonprofit, there's probably somebody out there that's willing to create a foundation and help you with that. There's so many ways to do this. So, what are the characteristics of an entrepreneur? You have to decide. Look inside, look in the mirror, figure out, are you that person sitting there with their hand on their head, or are you the one with the strong work ethic? What's your capacity? Strong education, strong will, confidence, ability to multitask. Yes, I know there's talk and schools of thought about, mindfulness being focused on one thing, multitasking is unproductive, whatever. You still got to do a lot of things with a little time. That's just the way it is. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to focus on one thing at a time, and then you got to focus on multiple things at a time. You just have to react, respond, be resourceful to make it happen. Effective organizational skills. That's what helps you multitask. Management ability, resourcefulness, resilience. One of the key things that I learned from one of the seminars about starting a business was that if you're doing more of a digital business and you have access to lots of information, lots of content, data, and you're really content intensive, you might want to get a personal assistant right up front to help you organize. And they can be anywhere in the world. There's some key places that do this professionally and don't charge a lot, less than $10 an hour, and you can hire them to help organize your websites and maybe do some content writing for your web pages, for product launches, and keeping your books really and your appointments and schedule and events, and there's somebody that can help you with that. That's a good way to get yourself going in the right direction. If you really have a big idea and it's taking up a lot of your time, then go ahead and get your personal assistant. Like I said, if you want to know more about that, definitely get in touch with me as well. Where there's a problem, there's a solution. So I hope you enjoyed this brief introduction about Business Startup 101. I'm not here to give you, hey, I've done 10 businesses. Hey, I've done a maintenance business. Hey, I've done a moving company. Hey, I've done, you know, janitorial services. No, I haven't done all of that. Yes, I was a partner in a moving company back in Atlanta some years back, and I learned a lot in that process. I was more of the silent partner funding the operation. But what I had to do was understand why I was signing this documentation, why we had to go over here, why we go over there. And so it helped me to really understand that it's pretty challenging to get things going in the right direction. Now, what I didn't do at that time was utilize any veteran resources. Being out here in California, I found out that there's a lot of veteran resources that are available. Even if you just focus on, let's say, the Small Business Administration, not necessarily veteran, but just that portion of it. But when you dig in there and find out that you could be classified based on your veteran uh, background, based on being a veteran, then you start to say, wow, there are benefits here. And basically, we were getting going after contracts and things like that for the city. So it would be helpful to understand that there are some veteran preferences out there. But it took some years, and now I know better. Had some success in government contracts as well. Um, so definitely, want to highlight that. So if you're looking at government contracts, then hey, definitely you want to do the business start with 101, understand some of these things, ask yourself these questions, and then start to answer these questions. And then, hey, let's figure out what that next step is. So I'm going to give you kind of a quick synopsis and give you a little bonus information on what I'm doing here and why I wanted to present this today. Give you just a little extra if you're thinking about starting a business. I know it's probably in holiday season. That's okay. It doesn't stop. People still need good products and services. People still want good things. And if you have a great product or service or an idea, then hey, let's get it started. Because the new year is just around the corner. You go ahead and kick that off. So here is something that I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it up, but since we had a little time left, I would say, let me give you an example. This is something that I use with my coaching business. And so in a coaching setting, like I said, I'm an emotional intelligence coach. And so in the coaching setting, it's a little different, but follow along. And this is to give you an example of kind of how some of the connect concepts work in what I do. So if you're doing coaching, if it's business coaching, results coaching, performance coaching, um, business coaching, career coaching, life coaching, whatever you're doing, if you're in this realm, then this is going to be interesting to you. If it's not, then just take the concept, see if you can apply them into your business. So when you want to connect, you must ask the right questions. So there's a book called Question Behind a Question, really good. You might want to check it out. Question Behind the Question. Let's look at some of the strategy sessions that I've had um, in the past. And this is some of the concepts that I use. I cleaned it up a little bit for training purposes. During a strategy session, you're making a stronger connections with your client to better understand their real motivations and limiting factors. First of all, you want to build rapport. I think we all kind of understand you want to relate to the person, right? You're building rapport, you're having that conversation, you're asking those questions in order to understand where to get started. Questions are to get you started. The questions you're not started yet. You have to understand. So you have to ask questions. So you're building rapport to show that you care about their well-being, right? Relax a bit. Put the call or meeting in context. Be sure and help them get clear on where they want to go with this project. Always ask for permission to move on and start the discovery. And is it okay with you that we do this? Is it okay that we move on? Is it okay that I ask you about your relationship at home? Is it okay that I asked about your business and what your business goals are? And we may be talking about something totally different, but you got to understand the whole concept so you can respond appropriately. You want to quickly remind them of what we are here for. Reassociate with the original problem. How did they even come to know about you? And that's where you can go back to so they don't get lost in why did you ask me these questions? Why are you digging so deep? Why are you going around the issue? You got to remind them, reassociate with why we met. Was it a webinar? Was it a video that you saw? Was it that we talked with a mutual friend? You got a question. He basically referred you. She referred you. Why is this important to you? Right? And when you reassociate with that original contact, now, boom, okay. I did have a question. I did need help. So that's why you're asking all these different questions. So that's important to make sure you reassociate. Then you need to know how they feel about their current frustration, right? Why did they even need to ask the question? Why are they looking for an answer? What is that frustration? That is the pain. That is the pain point. That is the stress and the tension. Now you are responsible to relieve that tension, relieve that pain, relieve that stress. So, what pain are they in that they're looking for solutions? Then ask if there's anything else that is causing that. Ask that question. They may be thinking, and all of a sudden, boom, you're helping them by helping them to think. And they'll come up with what happened in their past, things that happened, maybe leading to what they really want. What does the solution feel like or look like to them? Let them tell you what they want, and they will tell you exactly what they want. Now, if this is a business conversation, not personal, it's a business conversation, then you can ask the question, what are you looking for in the next 12 months? What are you looking for in the next 8 weeks? What are you looking for in the next 6 days, 6 months, whatever the time frame is for that particular situation, right? If it's a business, if it's a salesperson, they need to make money now. And so they may be at a tough spot where they had a dry spell and they haven't made money in 2, 3, 4 weeks. So they need to know, how do I make money next week? Okay. So what are you looking for in the next week? What are you looking for in the next month? Okay. This is what to do to make that happen. And then you give that concrete goal. This is what we're going to do. Right. Or you have a conversation and you say, okay, let's look at this. And you give you a little time where you can start to think and just bounce around some ideas and make sure it's something that they lead with and you respond to what they're saying. Now, identify what the walls are. What are walls? Well, I think we've heard the term walls a little too much with the current president, but that's okay because that'll give you a visual. Walls are obstacles. So, what are the obstacles that are preventing them from reaching their goal? That's what you're going to find out. Now, like I said, you can create, here's how we're going to get there. Now you can say, but this obstacle, then you can tweak the goal a little bit, right? Tweak the goal to where it makes sense. So this is just a highlight of a conversation that you have with the client or potential customer. Okay. So I just wanted to give you a little bit about that. And here is just some of the things and I just brought out the concepts in what that conversation entailed. So when we trying to connect, right, we're connecting to a point of solution. That person needs a solution. You need to figure out, how do I get them from the rapport, having a conversation, make them feel comfortable, to the point where they want to do business with you, because this is a business. So you still have to focus on that part of it. So here were the 6 key steps in what we just talked about. Rapport with care and concern, the context, today's context, right now, this is where you are. Reassociate with the original issue, how we kind of met. If it was a video webinar or something like this, or through a friend. Where are you right now? What is your desired outcome? What are they looking for? What is the outcome? You need to really focus on that part. And that's where the goal is created. The walls are obstacles. What's stopping you? Really, what's really stopping you? And then you can identify that. And when you provided, hey, here's a way we can do it, the goal, now you reiterate their top 3 or 5 problems, because they're going to give you these objections. They're going to give you these reasons why they haven't gotten it. And now you created this goal already, and you can take that goal and you can say, well, I understand you don't have a car. One, I understand that you're going through a divorce. Two, I understand that you have these bills to pay and they're stressing you out. Three, so you see what I'm saying? It's not difficult. You're not trying to find some big rocks. You're just looking for things that they've brought up in that conversation. And then when you start to give them, here is a way forward, your unique selling point needs to come out at that point. Right now, they need to understand you are the right person to help them fix their problem, relieve the pain, relieve the pain. This is what you're doing, right? Now, if you feel like that's moving forward, great. Move to the next step. That's a bonus, number 9 and 10. That's not what we're talking about today. But if you hit the point where it seems to go the right way, and then all of a sudden they backtrack, because this happens. I used to sell insurance. I understand how this works. I say this is assurance, and the person that I'm talking to says, no, right here it says insurance. And there was this little trick that insurance salespeople were taught. Sometimes people don't read. Sometimes people are looking right at the paper saying, you're lying to me because this is insurance. I'm like, no, I'm giving you assurance of your health. So you understand, they could go from hot to cold pretty quick. They may say that you're a great person. I like working with you. And all of a sudden, you're telling them something that's not written there. And they're like, So they go cold and revert to building more tension. Now they feel like they can't trust you. Now they feel like, oh my gosh, why are you sitting here? And then they start to get cold. They're not hot anymore. They're cold. How bad do they want the relief, though? So you need to stay calm. And then you'll go to number 9 and then conclude with number 10. But that is for another session. So, what are we actually doing? This is part of our bonus section. What am I actually, because normally I don't talk about this part in an introductory section, but I want to give you a little more of what is actually broken down in an actual business 101 conversation. Here's part of how we get to the nuts and bolts. We're going to talk about, what is your biggest problem in your business? Because if you're in sales, which most of the time, if it's real estate sales, if it's um, insurance sales, or if it's other direct sales, because most of my customers come from the direct sales or network marketing background when it comes to business 101, trying to figure out how do they start their business, what are the tax benefits, so on and so forth. But then they want to understand, why can I get people to show up? Or, you know, Is it a mindset issue? Am I doing too much IQ versus EQ? You know what I'm saying? Are you too much in your head and not in your heart? Total different approach to that potential customer. But why are you even watching this presentation? Are you one of these four? Right? Is it your mindset that's not making you money? Is it your presentation skills that's not making you money? Is it showing up that's not making you money? Is it sales? Are you making no sales? That's why you don't have any money. That's why you're here exploring what the real problem is. I'm going to identify which one of these are if you give me enough information. If I ask you enough questions, then we'll know if it's mindset, presentation skills, showing up, or you're just not making sales. Because if you can't get people to show up to an so that's what I'm saying is if you can't get people to show up, that's a big problem because you have an appointment with somebody, they don't show up. How does that look, right? So you know if you see that happening a few times, then yeah, you're kind of concerned, right? So another thing is it mindset, right? So I want to help you understand that's a conversation that me as a coach in this particular area, direct sales coach, EQ coach, this is where I can attack either area and defeat those fears in you to help you regain the right attitude, the right skills, the right focus so that you can start believing in yourself again and identify which area the problem really is. Then we can get into making money. That's what your main objective is. True? Okay. Well, hey, I'm Rashid Hill, and I want to remind you that as the founder of LT Coaching Solutions, I am a professional coach. I focus on emotional intelligence within the context of career and business focus for veterans primarily, but anybody that is challenged in their particular business. In addition to that, I am happy to provide presentation and if you would require additional education on concepts within the mindset, presentation skills, showing up, or sales, how do I make more sales? How do I get people to show up? How do I present better? And how do I make sure I have the right attitude, confidence, and the competence to complete that sales funnel? I'm happy to help. So you can get in touch with me at www.l3procoach.com. You can catch me on Facebook. You can catch me on Instagram, Rashid Z zero Z Rashid Z 619. Rashid Z 619. So I just wanted to give you a brief idea about the business startup 101. If you're getting ready to start a business, here are some questions that you want to ask yourself. This is what it was all about. And you have to figure out which area of starting your business that you're having the challenges and look at some of the questions that I presented today. Or if you have a business and things aren't working out as well, you know, there's probably 60% of businesses small businesses that start out and they fail within the first 60 days, some in the 90 days, but the majority fail within the first 6 months. So you have to understand over half of the businesses that start will fail within the first year, and then another 45% within the first 2 years. And most of the time, it's about funding. But there are other issues like timing, and there's an infographic in our group here that explains why businesses fail, and you want to take a look at that. So I'm Rashid Hill, and I thank you for taking the time. If you have any questions, you send them in the comment section, or you can direct message me. You can get me at l3thebrand@gmail.com, or you can go to www myheroplan.com for more information on business startup. If you want more information on my courses, you want more information on one-on-one consulting, you can always get me at my email, or you can reach me at 8ways to be 10 times better.net. 8ways to be 10 times better.net has the hero plan. We talk a little bit about more of the hero model, the coaching model, as well as talking about more training, presentations, uh, speaking. Then you can go ahead and take a look at my main coaching page, which is www.l3procoach.com. So I hope you enjoyed this brief message um, about starting a business. Hope I gave you some questions that you can ask yourself in order to get your business in gear, get things started right. And I do look forward to having more conversations about starting a business, expanding a business with you. It has been a pleasure. And I always want to leave you with a brief message that I believe can help you. Success is the warmest place to hide. Like they say, comfort, uncomfort. Most people say, in order to scale, in order to raise your game, in order to unlock your potential, you have to become uncomfortable. And a lot of times people stop before they get to the level of success that they are able to get a little uncomfortable, and then they want to go back to familiar. No, 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 no. Success is the warmest place to hide. You can get to some success and then you get comfortable, and that's when you know your competition is going to take over your market. So be careful with your level of success. But at the same time, remember, in order to be successful, prepare to be uncomfortable. I'm Rashid Hill, and it's been a pleasure to speak with you today. And I look forward to any questions or comments that you have. Thank you. Have an awesome day.